networker is like a great interviewer.
I'm huge on authenticity, guys. It's a big part of my message.
Claim your local listings and don't get caught paying someone for your local listing.
If you want to be successful, you got to do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times.
And when in doubt, give to other people and don't expect anything in return. But in giving to other people and helping them, it almost always comes back.
It's using the power of partnership, creating trusted partner networks to work with you to make your company be an offer more than just you.
They've done 90% of the work. It's your job to do the last 10% to meet them in the middle.
Don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by Advanced Services and Fuse Networks. My name is Galen.
I'm Joe.
We're coming at you virtually, or actually in studio, from BD Local in Tacoma, Washington. So, Joe, before we get started, can you tell our new listeners and viewers how our podcast came to be?
Sure. So we first started out as a private Facebook group page where we wanted to bring different businesses together to kind of just talk to one another and have communication and kind of help each other out, ask questions, share tips, things like that. And we thought, what a better way than to bring on different guest speakers in a podcast format. So that way we can go over all kinds of different topics as it relates to businesses for entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs, marketing directors, people that make decisions for businesses.
Awesome. And today's topic is one that people have asked us to talk about, is how to build a personal brand. So as we're recording this, yesterday of the day we're recording this is International Women's Day. So we're glad to have feature another women entrepreneur. Joe, please formally introduce Tanya, please, to our audience.
Awesome. So Tanya grew up in South Dakota on her family's farm. She worked in healthcare for 10 years while owning a franchise and completing her master's degree. In 2013, she took the leap to become a full-time entrepreneur. Since then, she has learned the true value of a strong village of support and a stable, recession-resistant business model. She will forever be passionate about wellness and creating leverage so people can work to create a lifestyle filled with purpose and joy. Tanya's loves owning her own time and being able to have flexibility in where she can work, where she can work and who she works with. Sorry, tongue twister for me. Awesome. Everyone, welcome Tanya.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
Awesome. And I think building a personal brand and the word recession proof is probably perks a lot of people's ears right now. But before we move on, Joe, our last podcast episode, we had Nikki on, Genjemi, on tips for hypnosis. So what was one of your takeaways when we had Nikki on our last episode?
So for me, it was the most effective time to be in a hypnosis state is when someone is the most relaxed and focused. This is when it's the best time for someone to do or perform, I guess, self-hypnosis. And part of your self-hypnosis is to give yourself positive suggestions.
Awesome. And then for me, it was more the quote she shared with us last time about for self-hypnosis, the positivity. Thoughts are like Velcro for the negative and Teflon for the positive, when you should reinforce yourself with positive thoughts to kind of get you going. So check out that episode on our social media channels and our website. All right, now we come to the part of our podcast where we get to know our guests. So we ask the same 3 questions. So our first question, Tanya, is what are some early lessons learned as an entrepreneur?
I think one of the biggest lessons I learned when I truly saw my business take off is, one, always need a great mentor, but then being humble and realizing that the person you may need to learn from may not look like you, sound like you, act like you, be your same personality. And for me, that was a really important key piece, because to take leaps forward in your business, you're going to need more than just you. You usually need to learn something, and someone's got that little bit of nugget you need, and you need to learn how to look for, discern, and allow them to coach and guide you.
Awesome. So part of that then, what's the best piece of advice that you've been given?
My biggest piece of advice for women, especially since yesterday was International Women's Day, but for business owners in general, is you have to know your numbers. You have to know what numbers are required to get your outcomes. You have to track your KPIs, your key performance indicators. You have got to know what it takes to get to your goal, and also what your goal is. If you don't know your numbers, you can't tweak, you can't be appropriately coached, and you for sure won't know if you're successful because you never measured it to begin with.
Right. And that's almost like the aspects when we talk to our clients about marketing in general, which leads us to our next question. Why is marketing important?
Marketing is so important, especially when it becomes to a personal brand, because whether or not you are intentional about it, it's happening. So if you aren't marketing, then you're in a vacuum, you're in a void. And even if you are employed, so maybe you work for an entrepreneur or you have a corporate career, you still have a brand. And now more than ever, I think people are realizing that, during the pandemic and during the last 2 or 3 years, it went from this thing where if you had a corporate career, I think people felt kind of safe and kind of secure. And we learned things can change overnight. You don't have control over that.
Right.
So no matter what, with the online world we live in, you are always marketing and you always have a personal brand, even if that means the absence of one. If you go apply for a job, or if you go to talk to someone, or even if you meet someone at a party, they're intrigued enough, they're typically going to go look you up on social media, or they're going to go Google you. So I think the biggest thing is marketing right now is you're always marketing, whether you're doing it with intent, so you can have a little bit of say in what that marketing and what that brand is, or not, is up to you. It's happening with or without you.
Awesome. Something you brought the word intentional, something that we did intentionally and that we're really proud of is our hashtag Valor Cares initiative. Joe, can you just, before we continue, can you say a quick word about our Valor Cares promotion, please?
So the purpose of it for us is to give back to small business owners. And the best way to do that is help them to build the foundation for their business and their online presence, which starts with a website. So for businesses who just maybe they didn't have a website, or their website was outdated, or their best friend's cousin's brother who lives in a basement built it for them and they just don't have access to that website, it's a great opportunity for us to give back to those businesses and to help build them a free website. As a teaser moving forward, and in the future, we're going to also be partnering with a company in, I believe it's in Detroit, Michigan, a company called Waymark, to also include a free 30-second video.
Right, more details to come. Builds. So awesome. Our Advanced Septic Pump You Up quote of the day. So I always ask our guests, can you share a motivational quote? And this is something Tanya came up with, and then we'll get her thought on it. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You just have to make it turn. So Tanya, something so simple, but can you share some insight on why you selected that quote for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So that quote came from when I worked in public health, actually. I worked a lot in maternal child health. So I was at the Department of Human Services, and I remember I was sitting around with a lot of legislators and other folks who make high-level policy decisions. And they wanted to tell nurses, public health nurses throughout all the counties, what they needed to do. And I literally slammed my hands on the table and I was like, you don't need to recreate the wheel. You just need to make it turn. And in that case, it was like the nurses knew what they needed to do. Right. They just needed the funding and the permission to go do the work. And I think for business owners, especially, that quote could not be more apt. I think business owners, no matter how small or big you are, even if you're just beginning, you need to get systems in place. Systems save you time, energy, and money. Everybody has probably done what you're trying to do. Someone has tried to do it before. So with Google and YouTube and all those things available, make sure you automate whatever you can and get help around you as early as you can, so you can focus on the parts of your business that only you can do. And a lot of times that's going to be the voice of marketing. But don't try to recreate the wheel. Don't try to be too fancy. Just keep it really, really simple and systematize whatever you possibly can.
Right. Great advice. Stay in the lane that you perform the best at and not try to do too much. Right. So, all right. So now we come to the part of our segment, our Fuse Networks Did You Know segment. Cue image.
Fuse Networks, providing IT managed services and solutions in the Pacific Northwest since 2009.
So there's a lot of myths that we wanted to debunk having you on in terms of personal branding. So I found a couple online. I'll read them, show them to you, and then we want to get your expert opinion. So cue image 7. This first myth I found is I've heard this a lot from people, but you will see success overnight. Like, boom, in an instant, it's going to happen. True or false?
Super false.
Okay, super false. So yeah.
So I think one of the biggest, for me, it's been a very interesting journey since 2013 when I left my corporate career. I left pretty abruptly. It was a pretty hard road, I'll be honest. I took a huge dive in income, and there were weeks between 2013 and 2017 that I was doing 15 plus networking events a week. A lot.
Like 3 a day.
And those are in-person ones before Zoom was really here, right? So you were doing, right?
Right.
So,
it was all in person. I would meet someone for breakfast. I would meet someone for coffee midday. I would go to a lunchtime learning networking meeting, perhaps, maybe meet someone right after they were done with work. I mean, I pounded the pavement. I put a lot of miles on my car. So I was working really, really hard because I had stepped away from, after benefits and everything, a pretty good 6-figure career. So I wanted to replace that income. I stepped away a little bit too early, but that's a story for another day. Anyways, when I transitioned to a different business in September of 2018, since that point, my business has skyrocketed. It was insane. And then I happened to be in the business of essential services during the pandemic. So again, I hit a 5-year goal in about 2 months, and
wow.
it's sustained. So a lot of people that don't know my journey, they don't know the work that I did from 2013 to 2017. And even before that just finally monetized. It just finally paid off when I finally got all the puzzle pieces put into the right place. But I was growing into the person that had earned that type of income. It just took a little bit of time for that all to catch up with me. So it's really interesting to listen to the people that have seen my entire journey, that knew me before. And then I've heard some people say, well, of course, Tanya, it was easy for you. And I was like, oh no, I had a week when I had $22 and I needed gas in the car and we needed food. And we had Monday to Friday to make it to. Like, we ate ramen.
Right.
There's a journey that some people you don't know. And I try to be very, very transparent about that without always focusing on the bad parts of the story. But I feel like if you don't tell those parts again and again and again, people forget or they don't understand. And those are the parts that often serve them the best.
Which is funny because that's what a lot of people think. The perception for business is, oh my God, you're making a killing. You started a company and all of a sudden you're a thousandaire, maybe you're a couple $100,000-aire, or maybe you're a millionaire, but they don't understand the hard work that it takes and a lot of the sacrifice that business owners or entrepreneurs,
Which is a good segue into our next myth. So you don't have to do anything. So you essentially, people think that your success just happened. Oh, Tanya, like, I knew you were going to do it, but they don't know the hard weeks, months, and everything. The one wording I found online, and just I want to get your feedback on it, is the intimate part of building a personal brand is finding your unique voice, honestly, your image, your personal anecdotes, your opinions, and your face all need to be tied into your personal brand if you want it all to work. That means you need to film videos, get on Instagram, stories, communicate, and connect with your audience. So it's almost like authenticity. So you don't have to do anything. I know that's a big myth, but share your thoughts on that with our audience, please.
I think marketing is all about building relationships and building a brand so people can know, like, and trust you. So I don't care what tool or method it is. And I think I've had to come to terms with that. I personally don't like social media.
Right.
It puts a pressure on me that I don't especially love, but I've had to kind of come to terms with that. And then also accept it is going to change again and again and again and again.
Right.
So just doing it and not trying to be perfect and accepting that I will always have to somehow get people to know, like, and trust me and show my true face and let go of any perfection or idea of perfection. That's been the best thing that I've done for myself. You know, I really fought against these whole Instagram reels and TikTok and all that stuff for a long time. And I just recently did a post about it. And I literally had to just do a post about it so I could get it off of my shoulders. I just did a whole reel about how I surrendered to the silly. And I basically decided, you know what, if this is what the world is saying, and this is what the world is shoving to everybody's forefront right now, then I will do this, but I'm doing it for the people that read the captions that might really connect with me. And I'm going to have that one perfect person that I'm marketing to in my mind. And I'm going to talk directly to her every time I do this. And it is what it is. And I'm not going to overthink it.
Awesome. So this next one, I want to get your thought on. I found it and I want to get your thought. This myth, you just need to be yourself. So the thoughts I read online is you need a strategy. Maintaining your personal brand is like riding a bike. You have to keep pedaling to keep the momentum going. Personal brand is about putting yourself out there, but with purpose. Every piece of content should be strategically primed with like your keywords, imagery, and words to help you build an audience. So there's probably parts of true and false, but just needing to be yourself. Can you?
But you just kind of mentioned that previously, where you
Yes.
just said your message on your social media is to that one person. And I think if
Right.
more businesses did that, as opposed to
A shotgun approach.
so it's
almost.
trying to appease everyone, you're just trying to reach that one person because your goal is to affect that one person. And once you affect that one person, then they're going to help share your story for you.
All right, Joe, I think you're right. And it's purpose, but not perfection.
Correct.
I think that where I see most people struggle, and I'm even working through this myself right now, I try to think of that one person, but it's still like my brand is still a little bit broader than it should be right now, I
Right.
think. But you have to take action. So you have to put it out there as imperfect as it is with the keywords you think are what you want until you kind of pedal that bike, to use
Right.
your analogy, to the right turn. And in some ways you have to give your audience the opportunity to reward you when you do get it right. And if you aren't putting content out there and you aren't trying to find the path that's going to be the right fit for your brand, then your audience can't give you any feedback. You know, if you're not putting enough, if you're not taking enough swings, you're never going to get a hit. And personal brand isn't something that you can just sit at the drawing board. I think people think they can just hire someone to do it, or they can just think about it enough that they're going to get it right. You're not going to. My personal brand has probably gone through 5 major shifts, and I am in the middle of a huge creation and exploration and invention period right now of figuring out what my brand is in the current social media climate we have.
Mhm.
You know, do people just want silly, or do they want to be taught something? Do they want short form video? Or do they want a 15-second blurb? How can I best serve? And I don't think you can figure out how you can serve and connect with your audience unless you're putting enough attempts out there and attempting to communicate and invite conversation in.
Right.
You just gotta do your best, and you will find your path. But it takes a while sometimes. And I would say since the day after Thanksgiving is the first day I put out a little video, and I was like, I will figure this out.
Right.
And it's now 4 or 5 months later, I'm still attempting to figure it out, but it's worked well. My biggest tip is put a dog in your video everybody loves.
Hands down. Yep.
dogs.
Yes.
We actually coach that in a lot of our clients when we build websites for like the About Us page. If you have a dog, put it in your About Us, because for some reason people like to do business with fellow dog owners.
Yep.
It has a stickiness factor of people just relating to it. And the last myth I want to go before we get into how to build a personal brand, it's all about you. Me. People, I think you kind of addressed it too. Just there's that certain person in your audience you want to speak with. You may have many profiles of people you want to target, but that post, you're really thinking of like one person that you want to connect with. You want to focus in on. Share a quick thought on that, please.
So people want to know what you do, what's in it for them. What you do, why you do it, and what's in it for them. I think those are the three things people want to know most. So, and the what's in it for them is what they're really most interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So as a solopreneur, this is another one that I'm always trying to figure out. Like, I want people to, like, your social media profile is about you, and at the same time telling people how you can help them, but you don't want to sell to them either.
Right.
But then you got to share your story, but then is it all about you again? Like, I think it's just a dance. And I think, you know what, people are very forgiving to branding when they know that you're authentically trying your best.
Well, one thing I would add then, or ask right now, is because I don't think we even touched on it yet, is what is your personal brand? What is it that you do?
My personal brand, I literally just build off of Tanya Hagre. So I basically introduce people and connect people to a manufacturing club and help them set up that direct relationship so they can shop online and get non-toxic products shipped straight to their home. So my only job basically is to share that shopping club membership and connect people directly with the company. But I have always built my personal brand on me so that I don't own the company. Right. I only own my brand and my relationships. And that has served me very well, because when I first left corporate, I focused in on primarily nutrition coaching and life and small business coaching. Mm-hmm. And then I really loved small business coaching. So I really went that direction. And we had owned a franchise, a brick and mortar store. So that really, like, I'm an entrepreneur in my blood. So I always end up business coaching anyways. And then I transitioned and I did some work in technology and wellness technology, and then landed here. So my brand has always been wellness and mentoring people. And honestly, I don't even think my audience or people in general realize that has been through, at this point, 5 different ways of monetizing my overall brand of wellness, leadership, growth, and mentoring. Because I always just build on those principles versus selling a specific thing. Right. I build on the principles. And that works well for me as a solopreneur. Now, if you invent a product and you invented this amazing cup that does this amazing thing, then you will probably be more specific than that. But me as a solopreneur, people have to know, like, and trust me. And so I've kept my brand based more on those principles that I believe in and that I value, no matter what type of business I'm specifically doing.
Gotcha. So something you mentioned earlier about you still don't know what it is, how it is you're supposed to do it, what kind of videos you should or shouldn't do, where it's all about you. So in your case, because my marketing brain just kicked on, is you should do a combination of everything. You should
and that's what I'm doing.
Right. So Instagram, you post a certain way. Facebook, you post a different way. Instagram, maybe you do a short 15-second video, but on Facebook, you jump on Facebook Live and maybe bring on and do a Q&A. So it's not just one thing that a business owner should be doing. They should be doing multiple things.
And the thing, just how to build a personal brand, we have a lot of audience members that are solopreneurs. What are like 1 or 2 things that you could share with our audience that, for the solopreneur that maybe isn't doing anything, or the solopreneur that wants to take the next step like you did, what are one or two things you could share with our audience?
Number one, just consistency. Again, you have to just start somewhere, and you have to do it consistently so you can learn. This is more about your mindset than anything else. You have to give yourself the opportunity to learn and just fail forward through this. All of us are doing the same thing. And then secondly, I do think specifically right now, Reels or TikToks, you have to do them if you really want to jet forward. And here's why. Because historically in social media and marketing in general, it was about the only people that saw your information was the audience you had built.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the way that Instagram and TikTok, they're trying to grow their platforms, they will take your content and it's based on interest, and they will put it in front of thousands and thousands of people that don't follow you. It's the lowest cost marketing to a group of people that I think I've ever seen, because it's literally free.
Right.
But it's different. And I think people don't understand how different that is, because it used to be only the people that followed you on Instagram or followed you on Facebook or liked you or were friends with you could see your content. Now with Reels or with TikToks, your content, the platform is forcing it out,
right,
based on the interest in your video, to thousands and thousands and thousands of people. They may see your video and then go follow you. It's literally marketing.
So it's magnified the exposure without, you're not doing anything extra, but these platforms, in an effort to grow, are just feeding more and more content. So what you're saying is, for these solopreneurs or even businesses like us, potentially put content out there in an effort to be discovered more without paying for it, right?
Yeah. You used to have to pay to get Facebook to put your content in front of viewers that were not your followers or not your friends. Now, in a Reel or in a TikTok, as of this moment, as of March 2022, they're putting your content in front of new people for free. I don't think that's going to last forever and ever and ever. But right now, you can get eyes in front of your content without paying for views.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think a lot of people just kind of shifted in their chair, took some notes of that kind of tidbit, just something so simple that anyone could do. And then I saw something on your LinkedIn page too, because I had read the book, Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect. Almost some of those principles are the same with right here too, right? You're doing something, your goals, what are you doing to achieve it? Your same marketing strategy could be thought of the same way as a compound effect. Like, all right, do it first and then build. You may have a few iterations of your personal brand, but you'll learn by the feedback interaction you get of where you want to morph to, where your low hanging fruit is, or a segment you want to move into. So I want to share that because I love that book. So,
oh my gosh, The Compound Effect and Atomic Habits. And those two combined, oh, so good.
Awesome. So we'll share your contact information for people that want to reach out to you to learn more about you on our social media channels. But before we do, Joe, one more plug for our Valor Cares initiative, please, before we sign off.
So if you're a business owner and you just need a website and you're just you're not sure where you need to start, just go to our website, to askvalormasterminds.com. There's a page for the Valor Cares, and just submit your information. And then once every single month we choose a couple winners to just kind of help their business.
Awesome. So Tanya, thank you so much for joining us. We fit a lot in a short amount of time. You had some really powerful tips, and people, we could follow her to see how she does it, not to copycat, but just kind of get a feel of the strategies that she said on how it is in real action. So,
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So on behalf of our sponsors, A Advanced Services and Fuse Networks, my name's Galen.
And I'm Joe.
Coming at you, we're in person at the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington. Thanks for watching this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, and stick around at the end for our Marky Boys Minute, a quick video tip from someone we work with. So thanks, everyone.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Marky Boys Minute. I like to do things in threes. Let's talk about formats of your video. You should have 3 formats made by your videographer, if not by me. Traditionally, you will do your horizontal 16:9 format, which is ideal for Facebook and YouTube and can be used in Instagram. Facebook has 1.93 billion daily active users. You want to get a video on there. YouTube has 122 million. You should also make your IG square, which ideally you need to make in 60 seconds. Then the next hottest social media platform right now is TikTok and IG Reels. So you want to make a 9:16 version, so the tall version of that same video. TikTok, I would say, is the fastest growing. Right now there's 50 million users, mostly young folks, but it's one of the top marketing tools right now. That was your Marky Boys Minute. Thanks for watching.